I don't know. I'm one of those guys. So I don't. This is going to sound bad, but I'm really good at losing. It took me a long time in sports to ever be good at anything, and I don't think I won any wrestling matches until I was almost a freshman in high school, and then I took second in high school, and then finally ended up winning a state championship, and then ended up winning a college national title and All American 4 times. I always like wrestled out of my league. But before that, and even during that time, like I got hammered and beat left and right. So, I'd lose 4 or 5 times in, a few weeks in wrestling matches and tournaments. And it just, I competed so long in it and lost so many times. It's easy for me to, to do that because I've been competing so long. But now it's like I have a family and, I'm about to get married and I have a baby. So losing means half your paycheck. So it's devastating in that sense. Like it kills us financially. And
Shit. Anyways, let's jump into this matchup, man. March 5th, UFC 272, Tagir Ulanbekov. What aspects of this matchup intrigue you the most?
I mean, nothing really. It's just the fight that I could get after my original one fell through. But I don't mind the matchup. He's a good wrestler. He's a big guy, undefeated in the sport. I like that. But he's not super dangerous. And when guys don't have a real big danger factor, then I get to have more fun. So it takes a little bit of stress off me. And when I'm having fun and moving around, then I'm a dangerous man.
Definitely, definitely. And how has it been, the last few fights where they've just been switching opponents, man, left and right? It just must be frustrating because you have to prepare, man. A lot of what you do in the cage is in preparation, right?
Yeah, man. I think it's in the flyweight division. It's a bunch of young guys because that's where the little guys are at, and I think they're gonna go into. They think they're gonna go into fights not being banged up and not being hurt, but you're not gonna go into the fight being 100%. So they just don't know that yet, and that's part of the game. So I think that's part of it. But the good thing about fighting a Russian is he's gonna show up. He'll be there fight night. So and it's getting to the point to where this is like my third camp in a row with no fight, and I needed the money, so couldn't have came at a better time. And I have a good opponent, and I think he'll bring the best out of me. So it's all good on this end.
When you look at an opponent, right, when you get the name and you break down that opponent piece by piece, what is the process you take to learn about your opponent?
And I'm doing a little bit more of that now, but I don't really like to watch too much tape. I got James for that. I pay him good money for that. He's the guy that breaks it down. I'm a soldier. I like to be, take directions and give the sticks over to James and let him just play it out. So uh, I let him do most of the work. I have been watching a little bit in this film, but just breaking down like more like habits. He's heavy on the jab, mostly straight punches. It's kind of an ugly shot, but a shot is to get to body lock and push up against the cage and drag guys down from there. So, um, there's nothing wild or crazy about this guy. He's pretty. I don't want to say basic, but what he does really well. But there's nothing flashy about it. It's just strictly A B stuff, and uh, I feel like we have the combination to stop that and control the rounds and get this win.
He's 2-0 in the UFC. His last fight was a split decision win against Alan Nascimento. Did you think he won that fight?
Probably, but it was close. Both his fights in the UFC were really, really close, and and they were in Abu Dhabi with Habib in his corner. Like in Vegas fighting, it's going to be a little bit different. We got fans going, so he's not going to get the split decision nod. In that situation. So both those fights were really close and could have gone either way. When I watch those fights though, and I get to choose like which one of those guys do I want to fight, I want to fight the guy who won that fight because it was so close. I don't want to fight the guy who lost that. And Nascimento looked dangerous in that fight. He had him in a bunch of compromising situations, but it just shows how tough Ulanbekov is. Like he's not going to go away easy. He's going to stick around. So this is going to be one of those 3 round fights, and it's going to be a long night for sure.
Definitely. And your last fight against Mateus Nikolai, you went to the judges in that one. What are your thoughts on that fight and how it played out?
I felt really good in the fight. During the fight, we changed a lot of things. I felt more like a competitor in that fight and like an athlete. I felt like I was doing things were going the way I wanted them to go. uh, but I kind of took a little bit of the dog out of it. I wasn't getting gritty and doing my normal stuff. So as much as I improved in the things like my cleaning up some of my striking and stuff, I also lost a little bit of the things that were effective in getting me to where I'm at. But I'm back with James now, and we're trying to put together these pieces, and I'm getting older, and uh, I feel like I still got it. And man, this is gonna be a show out fight. With the last one, it was a critical error. Sitting on bottom was a bad mistake. Even if I would have won the fight, going back and watching it now, I'm like, whoa, that was, it didn't look good. It looks bad. That's not a way to get bonus money. So it was just minor adjustments, making a mistake. Never sit on bottom. I can't die down there, and especially not underneath Ulanbekov. He's going to be tough pressure on top. So I learned a lot from that last fight, and that won't happen again.
You still got it, man. There's no doubt about that. You still got it. Your style is like unprecedented. I could say that because no one fights like you do, in that flyweight division, probably in the whole UFC. So it's always exciting to watch you compete. Now, your preparations, you say you're back with James Krause. That means you weren't with him the last camp?
No, I was, but like I still feel like new, like and man, I'm still learning and getting better. In Vegas, I was just like working so hard and like just training a lot, and like now I'm not training as much. I'm like skill building a lot. I'm learning more, and it's making it more fun to get in the gym and not be all banged up and stuff, and trying to compete. I got Jeff Molina, and there's like 5 or 6 fly gym that on any given day, like I could be the fifth best guy in there. Like, and some days I'm the best guy, but some days I'm the worst guy in there with these. All these guys are young and hungry right now, so uh, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a fresh start, and we're figuring out a new game plan and a new way. And I felt like it was coming together in that last fight. But again, we just made kind of an error as a team to sit on bottom and try to coast out a win when we weren't winning. So we learned from that, and like I said, we won't make that mistake again.
With losses, right? In MMA, fighters are going to lose no matter what. It's how you take the losses. For yourself, throughout the years, has that changed for you? How you take certain losses, or is it always the same? It just lingers with you for a long time.
I mean, it sucks. I don't know. I'm one of those guys. So I don't. This is going to sound bad, but I'm really good at losing. It took me a long time in sports to ever be good at anything, and I don't think I won any wrestling matches until I was almost a freshman in high school. And then, I took second in high school, and then finally ended up winning a state championship, and then ended up winning a college national title and All American 4 times. I always like wrestled out of my league. But before that, and even during that time, like I got hammered and beat left and right. So, I'd lose 4 or 5 times in, a few weeks in wrestling matches and tournaments. And it just, I competed so long in it and lost so many times. It's easy for me to, to do that because I've been competing so long. But now it's like I have a family, and, I'm about to get married and I have a baby. So losing means half your paycheck. So it's devastating in that sense. Like it kills us financially, and or you get these guys lined up to fight you, and then they back out, and then you got another 6 months with no paycheck. So it's a constant struggle with that. Like the more you grow in the sport, the more bills and shit you have to pay, and the better you get and the higher ranked you are, the more your coaches and training and everything costs. So it's a constant battle. But like I said, we're learning on that end as well.
Yeah, man. I feel like you do have so many more years left, man. Like you said, you got so many young guys in there. You're still keeping up with them, so it shows like your energy's still there. And you're gonna have a baby?
Well, I got 6 year olds. She's not a baby, but
Okay, okay. All right, all right. You're raising a baby. Yeah, raising a
yeah,
baby.
raising a kid. I guess
Okay,
not a baby.
okay, okay. I was like, oh, okay. That was
Yeah,
something new right there.
I'm
Um,
not sure. Kid's got a so maybe after.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. With going back to the fight, man. So, what are your expectations, man, out of this matchup? It seems like this guy's gonna most likely try to go to the decision with you, man. It's hard to put you away.
And that's the thing is I'm gonna have to. I feel like I'm gonna have to have a very exciting first round. Really push the pace. It's in the big cage, which is good for me in this fight because he's gonna try to come forward and take me down. I'm sure I'm gonna try to move. So like I said, I need a first round. I'm going to stay super active. I have to be busy in this fight and really push the pace. He seemed to kind of fade a little bit in the last 2 fights, and, my cardio is good for this one, so I'm gonna try to drag him deep too. I don't see him going away easy. He's definitely gonna be tough, hard to finish, so I see this being a 3-round fight, but I'm gonna have a high punch rate. And this is one of those fights where I don't have to do anything except for maybe not get pushed up against the cage and not get taken down. So like James is giving me the green light to be funky on my feet and move however I want, and have fun. And that's what I really want to do in this fight. I want to go out and have fun.
Some guys, it seems like it's their focus is to entertain, the fans more than it is to win. Has that changed for you? You know what I mean? Like, has it always been entertaining the fans, or is it more of winning now? Like you said, you got a family, you need to pay bills, all of that stuff. So the W is so important.
It is, but I tried to do that in my last fight. I was like, all right, let's just coast this out and get this win, and that bit me in the ass. And when I'm at my best is when I'm really having fun. So, and when I'm having fun, I'm entertaining. So they all kind of go hand in hand for me. Like if I'm gonna win, then I need to be having fun. If I'm gonna have fun, then I got to be entertaining. Like that's what I really like to do, even in the practice room. Like I'm trying to like have people like looking over in the corner, like, oh shit, like what's he doing? Or oh man, that's Tim over there, like he's doing this crazy shit. Like I love that, man. I live for that. So for me, it all kind of goes hand in hand. Like having fun and being entertaining is all routes to win for me.
For sure. Just wanted to pick your brain about the title fight that we saw at UFC 270, the third fight between Figueiredo and Moreno. In your eyes, who won that fight?
I'm a little bit biased. I'm a huge Brandon Moreno fan, and I feel like you have to take it from the champ. But that's just the way the sport goes. It's. I thought I won my last fight, and I didn't. So I think it's cool that they're fighting again. I think these guys could fight 10 times. They're going to always, put out a great product. Yeah, it's good for the flyweight division every time these guys fight. So for me, like the fans win, the division wins when Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo fight.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm excited for the fourth fight too, man. And like you just said, it is great for the division, man, because those guys they put on a show, man. That last fight was insane. But what do you think of Figueiredo demanding $1 million to fight Moreno for the fourth time? You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy, right?
I mean, that's got to be coming from Cejudo. You can make all the difference you want, but at the end of the day, like the fight's gonna happen. They're gonna fight. He's not gonna get $1 million, and maybe he will, and I hope he does. Like the more money those guys make, the more money I make. So I stand behind him. I hope he gets his $1 million.
Yeah, I hope he gets his $1 million too. But like demanding it out in the media and stuff like that, I don't know if that's the right
Yeah,
way to do it, right?
yeah, not yet. Maybe not yet.
Yeah, maybe that's it. All right, MMA fans, man, you've been dealing with MMA fans for a long time. Some of them are wild, some of them are crazy, some of them are respectful. What do MMA fans obsess about too much that fighters really don't care about?
Uh, I don't really know. I don't pay too much attention to the fans. I get a lot of like hate and stuff, but mostly it's one of those things where I don't know. I get like grammar shit on Twitter because I talk shit on Twitter. That's like my thing is just get on Twitter and shit talk people, and then I just have people like get on me about grammar and commas and stuff, and I'm like, ah, man, I don't want to argue with you. Like it's not even that I'm in areas like I'm not even super smart, man. I'm a UFC fighter. Like, what do you want from me? I'm not, I have a college degree, but I don't write or hardly read anything, unless it's kids' books or children's books. So, I get a lot of grammar police.
PTSD in combat sports, not CTE, but PTSD from like injuries, weight cuts, maybe damage taken in a fight. Have you experienced this and overcome it or seen it in other fighters?
I personally, I have a little bit with the weight cutting. Early on in my UFC career, like making 125 was super hard for me. I was fluctuating a lot, and like I just I even to this day like it scares me going into fight week knowing that I have to make weight. Now though with my wife Gina obviously and my nutritionist Tyler Mitten, like fight week is so easy for me to come in at my weight and like just knock it out. I'm the first one on the scale usually, like no problem. But yeah, it's a real thing, man. Like I used to just dread like having a fight schedule because I knew like it wasn't anything to do with the fight. Like I was gonna have to make weight and lose this godly amount of weight, and I don't do that now. And the science has changed so much with what we're doing that it's super easy. But I still like it's in the back of your mind always is just that little bit of worry, like you're gonna have to make that weight.
But once you make weight, it's just like, yes.
Uh, and you feel like you're gonna die, and then once you make weight, you feel like you could, oh, like that was easy.
All right, one last question. Kevin Lee, he signed with Eagle FC,
I've seen
and he
that.
will get paid in crypto. What is your take on crypto, and would you want your fight purse in crypto?
Uh, I don't know much about it. James Krause he's always told me like, oh, I'll get into this or whatever. Anything that he's ever told me to get into, I have. So I have some, but for me, man, I want to make sure that it's something that I can have and hold and use right away because I got that kid and got a new wife coming. So not for me probably, but if you know about it, like James Krause, like he always says, I wouldn't invest in something you know nothing about, and like if it wasn't for him telling me what to do with shit like that, I wouldn't do it. But somebody like him, he for sure might, and would rather do it probably for some reason like, oh, they can't tax it or something crazy that I don't know about. But not for me, no.
It's good to have someone like James Krause, man, to kind of give you
Telling you,
some game right there. March
good
5th.
friend, coach.
Yeah, yeah. March 5th, UFC 272, Las Vegas. Thank you, Tim, for the time, and I appreciate it. Good luck on the rest of the camp, man.
So, appreciate it. Thanks, sir.